Hey, what's happening everyone? Journeyman here, and welcome back to the Fearless Foxes for the very last time. This is going to be, as you can probably tell, the last video of the series. Now, in this video, we're going to wrap up the save itself. We're going to talk about the game of the season, goal of the season, team of the year, and my overall verdict of the save. And also, I will be going through, as a reminder, how to enter for a chance to win a free copy of Football Manager 2018. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. But first and foremost, let's take a look back at the season that we had. Alright, so the high of the season, no doubt, was the 1-0 victory over Manchester United, who were flying high at the time. They were top of the table, and we beat them 1-0, surprisingly. That was completely against the run of play. It really was kind of that back-to-the-wall, kind of like team spirit result that I loved so much. Fellaini getting the assist, and of course, Ibrahimovic getting the goal against his former team. This goal, actually, we'll talk about that in just a few moments, but nevertheless, this definitely was the high of the season for me. Now, from the high to the low, this is by far the most disappointing result of the season. It was a 3-0 defeat against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup 6th round. Now, we narrowly beat Tottenham to get here, 4-3 on a replay, and I thought, you know what, we might be able to maybe a bit of a cup run, maybe a little bit of excitement at the end of the season. Nope. We were absolutely outplayed, outclassed by a team in the division below us, Middlesbrough. As you can tell, they beat us 3-0. Rudy just getting 2 goals. Jan Tol getting a goal in the 58th minute. This game was just... It was the nail in the coffin for me as far as this team and this squad goes. They just gave up. They didn't respond to anything else having to say. Morale was kind of hitting rock bottom. This really was the low point of the season. As you see, the match stats, they're absolutely embarrassing. And I'm very surprised that I managed to keep my job after this game, considering how bad it was. Okay, now for the goal of the season. Now, we go back to the 1-0 win over Manchester United, and obviously, this is my high of the season as far as games go, and this was by far the goal of the season for me. Take a look at this here. It was just a beautiful, beautiful strike from a quality striker, Slimani to Fellaini, and then one touch and smash in the top corner of the net. It was just an absolute belter of a goal. There were some other candidates I could go over, but this is by far the best and my favorite goal of the season. Alright, and my signing of the season was, of course, Emile Heskey. Just kidding. In fact, it was, of course, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He signed for a free transfer in the January transfer window. Now, as you can see, he's regressed a tiny bit, mainly in acceleration, but that's going to happen over time. Naturally, he is now going on 35 years old. You see the acceleration going down, pace and agility all going down, but he's still a quality Premier League striker, and he proved that this season for us. 10 goals in 18 appearances on a team that was not playing very well, average rating 7.31. He just had an absolute marvelous season. And to get him on a free transfer, I cannot highly recommend him high enough as far as if you want to sign him in this database. Top signing. Definitely my signing this season. Okay, so now for the team of the year. Now, obviously, goalkeeper is going to be Kasper Schmeichel. This is how we're going to line up. Kind of a 4-4-2 with a kind of advanced right winger in Mare. But anyway, we'll get to that team. Obviously, Schmeichel in goal. Right back, Danny Simpson. Didn't really have much competition. Was my primary right back all season. Solid, not spectacular. Average rating of 6.82. Had a couple of terrible games, I do, however, remember. Then Wesley Holt, who was actually a pretty good signing for us. Obviously, we signed him for £15 million, and he was as solid as could be, really, and he's still progressing as a footballer too. So I think in a few years, if you sign this guy, he would actually get a little bit better. And then we have Wes Morgan, just again solid as a rock, average rating of 6.79. All the other centre-halves that I used didn't really stand out as much as Wes. He had a pretty good season. Then we had Christian Fuchs at left-back. He was pretty good going forward, had a few assists. We decided to move him on. He wanted to move to China to obviously get his millions and millions of pounds, so I don't blame him for that. So he was our left-back of the season. In midfield, I've gone for a pairing of Abora and Fellaini. Obviously, towards the end, I played Ndidi a little bit more than Abora, just to change things up a little bit. But overall, Vincent Abora was very, very very solid. Again, he was nothing spectacular at all. None of our players really were. He only had 2 assists this season, average rating of 6.88, and he won 71% of his tackles. That's really not that bad. And then we had Fellaini. Now, Fellaini was actually a wonderful signing for us. He was actually second in my signing of the season. Again, at a bargain price of only 8.5 million. Obviously, I mean, for that kind of money, he can do a lot for you in your team. He can play a numerous amount of roles. I mean, notched him 3 goals, a little bit disappointing number. I kind of wish he'd scored a few more than that. 6 assists is pretty good average rating, a 7.0 rate in the Premier League. So overall, he had a really good season. So he was a shoe-in to be in the team of the year. And honestly, he was kind of unlucky to lose out for signing of the season. Next up was Mare Gray. Now, he didn't really come on until later in the year. It took him a long time to get going, but when he did, he was very, very effectual on the left flank as a winger. Driving force, always going at defenders, which is really good. He has a really good trait in knocks ball past the opponent, which is very important to have. A very pacey winger. He turned up to be a very good very good player at the end of the season, because he had a really slow start, couldn't really break into the team. Every time he did, he wasn't doing anything special, but at the end of the year, he was a vital part of the team. Then we had Riyad Mahrez. Very disappointing campaign for him. I expected a lot more from him. He actually picked up a knock midway through the season, and then he had obviously the African Cup of Nations, so we lost him for big portions of the season, so we never got the flow of things. Disappointing numbers as well. Only 5 goals, only 2 assists. Good average rating of 7, and obviously he's a key player for the club itself. And obviously, had I had him all season and fully fit, I felt I could have got a bit more out of him. But nevertheless, he's going to be in the team as a right winger. All right, next up, of course, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, as we know, player of the year, notched up 15 goals in total in 23 games. I haven't got to talk too much about him, just a great player. And then he's going to part by Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy missed a large portion through injury. I forgot how long it was, injuries. It was a torn hamstring. He was out for 2 months, so that was disappointing because I signed him with the idea. I signed Ibrahimovic the idea he's going to partner Jamie Vardy, and I thought they could really create some kind of dynamic duo up top. And he did notch in 9 goals. He was our second top goal scorer. He also got 7 assists to his name, which is very, very good. Average rating of 6.90, of course. Just a very good, well-rounded Premier League striker, and I know he would have had a much better season if he could partner up with Zlatan, and he didn't miss those 2 months after Zlatan signed. All right, and one final look at the competition progress. Now, obviously, they expected mid-table. I guess we achieved that. The board confidence is at 55%. Obviously, I wanted to finish much higher than that. I was looking for 8th and maybe higher. So obviously I'm disappointed that all season long we only won 9 games out of 38, lost 22, draw 7. And at the very end, we were looking at relegation as a distinct, realistic possibility. So obviously it's a very disappointing season in the Premier League. I don't have to state that. In the FA Cup, we were knocked out in the 6th round, so we exceeded expectation. They wanted to get to the 5th round. Again, the manner in which we left this competition particularly stings for me. Then the EFL Cup, we lost in the 3rd round against Brighton of Albion, another kind of cup competition that I felt like we could have achieved more in, and losing against Brighton was a little bit disappointing as well. All right, some overall verdict of the save itself. Now, all season long, I was struggling to find a system that would work for this team and the players I had. A lot of chopping and changing through injury, suspension, new signings, things like that. We never got into a rhythm in this save, and that kind of showed as well. I looked back at some of the episodes and I realized, obviously, there's a lot of tactical changes. Basically, I tried to overcompensate for like too much movement and fluidity in the team itself. I usually like to stay constant with my tactics and my team, but I just couldn't get a constant lineup out there, either through injury, suspensions, things like that. But I don't want to blame too much of our lack of success on those factors, because obviously that comes down to me as a manager. I need to be able to adapt better, and I just couldn't get things rolling. I lost the squad about halfway through the season as well, so that made the second half of the season very, very difficult. I was hoping after signing Zlatan that we would maybe push forward a little bit and maybe just get a few more goals. And obviously, we were losing games very narrowly in the middle of the season. Games that we could have easily won. We were in every single game as far as match stats go. Take a look at the schedule. Now, you'll notice like this period here, basically December was just absolutely atrocious for us. We only picked up 2 points in the entire of December, despite a really heavy run of games. And as you notice, we only really played 2 big teams, which is Arsenal and Liverpool. The rest of the teams were very, very winnable. So at that point, I started to lose the team, and I just couldn't really ever get them back. And obviously, after signing Zlatan, things picked up a little bit. As you can see, we did pretty good in the month of January. February, another disappointing month for us, only picking up 2 points in 5 games and conceding a shit ton of goals, excuse my French. And then next one up, obviously March, got a couple of wins on the bounce, and then at the end of the season, it just kind of tailed off, and at that point, I find it hard to really care, just because things were going so poorly for us. But yeah, as you can see, very, very patchy, very, very inconsistent. That really summed up our season in a nutshell. As my performance as manager goes, I've got to give myself a D at the very most. I felt like I didn't do what I wanted to or set out to do in the first place. I'm disappointed that I couldn't lift this club up to another height, or at least provide a much more sturdy sturdy, consistent team, and a very sturdy kind of like challenge at the top of the table. Again, I wanted to finish mid-table, and I failed miserably at that. As you can see, I was way off the pace, almost. In fact, I wanted to finish 8th. They were 6th, and Bournemouth 61 points, and we were on 34. So as you can see, Bournemouth won literally twice as many games as us with 18. So that's, my performance as manager has been very poor. I was shocked when the Leicester board offered me another year in charge. Obviously, that's not the aim of the save. It was going to be just a 1-year save. So I obviously wasn't going to accept it. But I'm shocked they offered me a new deal because of how poorly we did this season. So yeah, it's very, very disappointing. Not gonna lie. Would have hoped things went a bit better. But nevertheless, it's been enjoyable. I've enjoyed the challenge. I've definitely learned a lot from this save, and I think the way that I managed Leicester, I'm trying to avoid the same mistakes in my Southampton save, which started to go down a little bit as well. But anyway, that's pretty much gonna wrap up my season summary and my save summary. Obviously, I give myself a D for this, and I'm pretty hard on myself on this one. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of the sign-ins? Did you like the sign-ins? What was the wrong move I made? Did I change around tactics too much? Was I not using players in the right way? Let me know. I'm always interested to hear about feedback. I'm always open to those kind of that dialect. But anyway, as I talked about at the beginning of this video, we'll talk about the FM18 giveaway. Now, if you remember the very first episode, I talked about doing an FM18 giveaway based on the idea of the save. I want to challenge you as a manager to do a 1-season save with Leicester. Try and finish as high as possible, and whoever gets the highest league position will win a copy of Foot Manager 2018. Now, obviously, you will find you'll be able to post that as an image on my Facebook wall. I think it's the FM Journeyman. I think it's the FM Journeyman. Anyway, you'll find a link for all that information in the description below. Please make sure you submit all your applications before September 27th, because that is the deadline. I'm going to set it at midnight in Orlando time, so it'll be 5 a.m. on the 28th for you guys, I suppose. But generally speaking, please get your submissions in. And if I don't get any submissions, then I'll just roll it over and I'll just do a random giveaway to a subscriber. We're very, very close to 50 subs. I would like to get to 50 subs before that point, and I do want to do a special video for that. But apart from that, please make sure you enter. It's a free chance to win FM18. It's going to be on me. It's going to be really easy. Just complete the season with Leicester. Honestly, there's been no submissions as of yet. I presume some of you are still going through the season. If you are, please make sure you get those submissions in as soon as possible, just so I can prepare and make sure you guys will get your copy if you win. But thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed this save. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing it to you. I'm looking forward to the next save, next new series, which I'm hoping will come out in the next couple of days. Right now, I'm going to focus on the Saints save and also my Championship Manager series. And then if I want to add a third save, I've got a few ideas in mind. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see anything in particular. Maybe I can accommodate that, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching again. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. And for last time, the first Foxes. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.